few minutes to showtime. Good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you are in the world and in America. And welcome to HinduACtion's Diwali Gala, which is focused on American Hindu engagement in society and nation building. For anyone who isn't familiar, HinduACtion is an independent nonprofit organization dedicated to filling gaps that exist in the American Hindu identity space that remain unaddressed or that are under-addressed. HinduACtion is the only American Hindu nonprofit that is active in Washington, D.C. at this time on a daily basis. Our teams are active in strategically important states like Arizona, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, California, Florida, and Maryland, where there are major Hindu representation, but where bigger Hindu advocacy has far less presence than it should, which we are looking to change for the positive. Our vision is to see a pluralistic society through education, advocacy, and leadership. And we strive to harness an ethos of a Hindu ethos of, civilizational experiences and to promote inclusivity, a pluralistic American society that advocates and defends those values globally. So I just want to also point out before we begin our program that the American Hindu community showcases such an incredible tapestry of differences, encompassing not only cultural and linguistic variations from the Indian subcontinent, but also diverse ethnic, racial backgrounds of practicing Hindus from the Caribbean, East Asia, Indo-Pacific, and those with European ancestry as well. With that said, I just want to add that despite the presence of 2 or 3 major Hindu organizations, our reach extends to a mere 3 to 5% of the American Hindu population, leaving a staggering 95% untapped. And this lack of engagement really was evidenced during the California caste legislations, where only 5% of the Hindus comprehended the gravity of the situation at hand. It is something that we are still grappling with today. The Hindu community is still grappling with today. And with that, I'd like to turn your attention to HinduACtion's very own Anjali Swamiji, who will start off our Diwali Gala by performing the Devi Stuti, or the Devi's Prayer.
Shakti जग में जिसका नाम है जीवन, एक युद्ध है संग्राम है जीवन। जग में जिसका नाम है जीवन, एक युद्ध है संग्राम है जीवन। तेरा नाम पुकारा, दुख मारा, मैं हारा इस जीवन से। शक्ति देवा, शक्ति देवा, शक्ति देवा, शक्ति देवा।
That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much to you, Anjali Swamiji. I want to, just before we turn to our next segment, the first segment, by opening it up the floor to donations. Of course, none of this incredible, important work, grassroots level, and of course at the federal level, can be done without your donations and your generosity. So please go ahead and visit HinduACTion.org to make a donation today. With that said, I'd like to now turn your attention to a video presentation that highlights HinduACTion's progress to date. The proof is in the pudding. So here you'll get a small glimpse into the journey of HinduACTion and what we've been able to accomplish so far to date. At a time when we face growing disinformation targeting the Hindu communities across America from the very same people who stifle voices of freedom and promote anti-Semitism, it is important to have a grassroots Hindu advocacy group that educates our members of Congress and our thought leaders. HinduACTion is nonpartisan and not related to any other organization based in or outside of the U.S. Our work is to engage American thought leadership, complement the efforts of several other Hindu organizations, as well as initiate grassroots actions for decisive outcomes. Our growing team consists of people who have been key drivers of a few major milestones in the Hindu identity space. Our effort is to transition from an immigrant identity space to a fully integrated American identity space, and is long overdue for American Hindus. Accelerating this transition is the most pressing challenge our community faces. A swift shift towards an American Hindu identity space ensures that future generations will engage more proudly in faith-based and community initiatives. In less than a year, HinduACTion has built a formidable track record in filling up the gaps in the Hindu advocacy space, both strategic and operational, in a manner that complements the efforts of other advocacy organizations, which have been already working in this space for many years. This was only made possible because of our team, which consists of dedicated thought leaders who have been engaged with the community at a grassroots level and other advocacy groups for decades. Our team initiated and drove the historic 1971 Genocide Recognition Project, which led to the introduction of the bipartisan House Resolution 1430 in October 2022. Our team worked with more than 30 national organizations to bring this first pro-Hindu resolution to Capitol Hill in 8 years. Due to the upcoming elections in Bangladesh, scheduled for January, we anticipate powerful opposition to the reintroduction of this resolution from lobbies linked to Jamaat-e-Islami, which was responsible for violent and deadly protests in Bangladesh on October 28th, the Muslim Brotherhood, and organizations fronting for them like CARE, ICNA, and ISNA. Our concerns were further confirmed when Congressman Rich McCormick, despite being pro-Hindu, refused to introduce the resolution in September, despite leading us on for 5 months.
Our Lost Daughters of Sin team members have worked on creating awareness and actionable outcomes to highlight the plight of the brutalized religious minorities of Pakistan for over a decade. After campaigns by groups like ours, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak led the United Kingdom in sanctioning a seminary, the Barchundi Sharif, and its owner, Mian Mittu. Hopefully, our voices can one day ensure that every dollar of the billions that are given as aid to Pakistan is made conditional upon the safety of its religious minorities. Anjali Swami, our chapter lead in Arizona, spoke at the City Council in Tempe, and Renu Gupta spoke at the town of Westchester, Ohio, about minority women in Pakistan. My goal is to create grassroots awareness. The average American can become the voice of these girls, and that will have a much bigger impact, she explained. HinduACTion has a separate research department which seeks out evidence-based documentation of anti-Hindu hate that we share with lawmakers, policymakers, and law enforcement. We also share documentations with other advocacy groups. We are working to facilitate a nationwide campaign to create awareness and alliances against rising anti-Hindu bigotry and encourage the introduction of Hindu phobia resolutions. The resolutions would aim to cover campaigns like caste resolutions, Islamist and Khalistani hate cults, and targeted misinformation and disinformation against Hindus in any other form. In Ohio, we are working to promote Senate Bill SCR 06, which was introduced by State Senator Niraj Antani. Our teams are arranging city and county level readouts across the country to create a bottoms-up approach to this effort. Support us. The American Hindu community has the least per capita expenditure on advocacy when compared to Muslims, Jews, and Christians. The concept of Tyag and Sewa have served us well over the past 20 years, but will only take us so far in countering real and present threats to us and our children. Be part of the action. Support HinduACTion. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video that highlights what we've done so far. A lot more is in the works. And I'd like to just turn your attention again to www.hindu-action.org/donate to make a contribution today. With that said, I'd like to now introduce Dr. Max Abrams, who is a distinguished tenured professor of political science at Northeastern University. He is renowned for his expertise in international security, and with a prolific record of publications, he has made significant contributions to the field, featuring prominently in leading academic journals such as International Organization, International Security, and International Studies Quarterly. His work is also frequently showcased in respected publications like The Atlantic, Foreign Affairs, Foreign Policy, The New York Times, USA Today, and Los Angeles Times. I believe he's a California native. Beyond his research and writing, Dr. Abrams is also sought after for his authority on contemporary terrorism, often advising government agencies and sharing his valuable perspective. I'd also like to add that he is also an author of Rules for Rebels, The Science of Victory in Militant History, which challenges prevailing notions about groups like the Islamic State, ISIS, Daesh, shedding light on why conventional wisdom often falls short. His work is a testament to his dedication to advancing our understanding of international security and the complex challenges of our time. I ask you now to turn your attention to Dr. Max Abrams, who will deliver tonight's keynote remarks.
October 7th, Hamas launched Operation Al-Aqsa Flood. And this was an unprecedented attack. in the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This was not business as usual. What made the attack distinctive was that it involved over 2,000 terrorist attackers. And that is an enormous number of terrorists involved in a single terrorist episode. There's a correlation that we've discovered within political science between the number of attackers and the amount of lethality that they're able to inflict. In the course of this one-day attack, approximately 1,400 people were killed in Israel. Overwhelmingly, they were Israeli, of course, but it involved attacks on people from other countries, as well as those with dual nationality with Israel. And so the scale of the attack was unprecedented against Israel. And so was the indiscriminate nature of the attack. The perpetrators, they went door to door, shooting up families, setting entire families on fire, calling out, Ima, Ima, Mommy, Mommy, to shoot and kill as many Israeli kids as they could, chasing them in closets, in some cases torturing the parents in front of the children and the children in front of the parents. So the indiscriminate nature of the violence, the preying on civilians, as well as the indiscriminate hostage seizures, taking over 200 hostages, most of whom are civilian. It included babies and children, the elderly and infirm, people from all over the world, not just Israelis, and the brutality of the attack. So you have the scale of it, the indiscriminate nature of it, and the brutality of it, all made it a truly unprecedented and infamous day in the history not just of Israel, but in the history of counterterrorism and world civilization. In the immediate aftermath of the attack, we saw uprisings all over the world, but they weren't against the Hamas perpetrators. They were against Israel, for Israel to end the occupation, for there to be a creation of a Palestine from the river to the sea. We saw this not only throughout the Middle East, but throughout Europe, and even in the United States, including on college campuses. There was a note of, I would say, happiness that came out of India when I saw that the Modi government extended its sympathies to the state of Israel and was just encouraging of Israel to defend its national existence. The Modi government is different than other governments around the world in the sense that it understands the critical importance of counterterrorism. And the reason why, in part, is because India has been the victim of terrorism from many different kinds of terrorist enemies. Some of them are what you might call Islamist or jihadist, perhaps sponsored in some cases by Pakistan. In other cases, the terrorism has come from Khalistani extremists. And India has shown that a strong counterterrorism response actually can be effective in protecting the citizenry. Now, that might seem obvious, that a strong counterterrorism response can help to protect the citizenry. But all over the world, especially in the United States, there's a widespread misperception that counterterrorism is folly, that strong counterterrorism responses don't work. When Americans think of counterterrorism, they think of the Iraq War, which of course was a disaster on a humanitarian level, but also in terms of its counterterrorism effectiveness. But the attack against Israel on October 7th was nothing like the US decision to go into Iraq. When the US went into Iraq, it was attacking against an enemy that wasn't involved in the terrorist event that supposedly precipitated it. Iraq was not involved in 9/11. The United States waged an elective war thousands of miles away in order to promote democracy throughout the Middle East. There is no dispute in this case that Hamas are the perpetrators. Israel is not overestimating the terrorism threat. There are literally tens of thousands of terrorists, not only in Gaza, but in the West Bank and in Lebanon. Israel is surrounded by tens of thousands of terrorists who are backed by Iran, by Qatar, by Turkey. And so Israel faces, at the current moment, a truly unmatched terrorism threat. And very few countries in the world can identify with Israel's current existential situation. I want to thank the Modi government and the Indian people for understanding the nature of the terrorism threat and for extending their sympathy and support for rooting out these terrorists who threaten not only Israel, not only India, but the rest of the world. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Dr. Max Abrams, for that. I just want to, once again, before we go to our next guest, thank everyone who's here for tuning in. And if you wish to make a donation to, again, we're a American US-based nonprofit organization, www.hindu-action.org/donate. And only tax-exempt donations can be made. Now, I am pleased to introduce everyone to Dr. Mohan Wanhu, a Kashmiri Hindu philanthropist and activist. Mr. Wanhu is the chairman of ECIMW Holding Company. He's an entrepreneur and a philanthropist and the founder of 2 software companies in New York, providing services to the energy industry. Mr. Wanhu supports many charities that provide education, healthcare, and social welfare services to the underprivileged in India and in the United States. That said, Mr. Wanhu, I'd like to ask you to speak, please, about the need for Hindus to support advocacy work and to get more involved in civic engagement. Welcome.
Thank you, Adele, and thank you, Hindu Action Committee, for inviting me to attend this fundraising gala. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm delighted, to attend this event, but I'm also very saddened, to hear what the previous gentleman had to say about what the Israelis have had to endure in this very, very difficult time. First of all, my and the heartfelt, feelings from the entire Indian community to the Jewish people in Israel for enduring the worst and the worst of what has been inflicted against them, for so many years, and then recently culminated in the terrorist attacks in Israel. Israel has been targeted, all over the world, despite the invaluable contributions of the Jewish people worldwide. And that's what's very troubling. You know, most of the Nobel laureates, the scientists and the doctors and the people in the finance world and lawyers, et cetera, come from the wonderful state of Israel. And this is really a wake-up call for humanity, and certainly a wake-up call for Hindus as well, um, to realize the dangers that exist in the world today. And I'm happy that under your leadership, the Hindu Action Committee has kind of taken up this matter, in their hands, so that then we can promote um, awareness of these terrorist activities in the world. Um, Talking about the Hindu Action Committee, um, I'm very happy to say that Hindus have always promoted the message of Vasudev Kutumbakam in our Sanatan Dharma, and what it means is that the world is one, where we practice living in harmony with human beings, with animals, with plants, with insects, and every form of living and non living beings on this planet. And we really need to spread this message of universal brotherhood amongst all Americans and amongst all the folks, on this planet. Hinduism is about a pluralistic society, accepting all religions, faiths, schools of thought, just like the Jewish people. It is, a society that believes that there are 8 billion paths to God, as many people are on this planet. And every person has the freedom to choose the path that they want to choose to get to the Supreme Being. It promotes that there is nobody who can mandate how we think. We're all seekers, and we seek our own path and want to get to wherever we want to get to. In your introduction, Adele, you had mentioned about me being from the state of Kashmir, and I just like to spend only less than a minute talking about myself, although this is not about myself. I'm the product of a Kashmiri Hindu genocide that took place in the hands of the Islamic terrorists in Kashmir, which was, the land of the sages of the Kashmiri Hindus, all the way back to the last 10,000 years. My family had to run away from Kashmir in 1947 when thousands of us were slaughtered, because we were Hindus, and we had to become refugees in our own country. As recently as 1990, my wife's family had to endure another genocide where thousands of Kashmiri Hindus were killed just because they were Hindus, and they had to run for their lives. And her parents became refugees in India, in Delhi, and ultimately we were very successful in bringing them to New York. The point I'm trying to make is that all Hindus fled from Kashmir, leading now to Kashmir being a 100% Muslim state. And this is basically what is being attempted by the other side to completely annihilate any other school of thought and only promote their methodology, their state of mind, and their belief in whatever they believe in running this whole world. So my hope is that we can establish through the Hindu Action Committee relationships with assemblymen, with congressmen, to support the Jewish people and the Hindu people at this very difficult time. And I'm sure we have Adele, from what you introduced, we've done so far, that we've educated assemblymen and congressmen about our Sanatan Dharma, its tenets. And I'm hopeful that we'll continue this work in educating the American folks and the legislators about how we are a society that promotes pluralism, that promotes yoga, that promotes meditation, Ayurveda, and strong family values, and all about our festivals and cuisine and all of that. So I want to congratulate all of you for doing a wonderful job. And I'm so proud and so happy to be associated with you. And I'll continue to support your activities and your action in the future. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share a few of my thoughts. Thank you.
Mr. Wanhu, thank you so much for your powerful testimony right now, and also for coming here to share your personal story and for being such a giving person, without which, of course, this organization wouldn't be able to continue doing what we're doing. And I just want to also add onto what you said, that this summer we had a team that met with senators on the Capitol that dealt specifically with Kashmiris from the Valley. And we were able to share counter disinformation material with even senators like Cory Booker. So your voice and the plight of your fellow Kashmiris is definitely not silenced, and it will be advocated for continuously. So thank you again. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
I would just like to quickly turn everyone's attention to the website, and that is www.HinduACTion.org/donate to kindly make a donation there. I know that we just had a wonderful introduction. Now what I'm going to do is turn us to our next guest, who is someone who I believe most of you are familiar with. And her name is Asra Nomani, and I believe Asra is with us in the audience. And I've known her for many years myself. She's a personal friend as well, an incredible human being for anyone who has gotten to know her also inside and out, and just a beautiful person overall. And I'm going to go ahead and give you her bio now. So Asra Nomani is the author of her latest book, Woke Army, the Red-Green Alliance that is destroying America's freedom. She is a Muslim reformist and a former Wall Street Journal correspondent who has written for the Washington Post, the New York Times, Slate, the American Prospect, and Time. She was a correspondent for Salon.com in Pakistan after 9/11 and a close friend of the late Daniel Pearl, who was brutally assassinated by al-Qaeda for being Jewish. She was also a visiting scholar at the Center for Investigative Journalism at Brandeis University. And, Asra, based on your wealth of experience in this area, can you speak to our audience about the common threats that are facing Hindus, Jews, and other minority communities, the red-green axis that you have written about and spoken about so frequently? It's great to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be with my community and with you, Adele. I am really honored to be here, and I'm really excited about supporting the efforts of HinduACTion. Action is such a critical word, as you all know, in your own lives and in society as community organizations. I want to speak to you all about two elements of action. One is personal empowerment, and the second is organizational empowerment, because I think the two are intertwined, and they're also the answer to this threat that the Jewish community faces along with the Hindu community. And I want to bring this to life for you, because this isn't just the stuff of theory or headlines. This is the stuff of your lives and the lives of your neighbors and the actual life of your ancestral land and my ancestral land of India. So, and just talking to you all, some of you may know me, others may not. Just to quickly introduce myself, I was born in Bombay at Noor Hospital on Muhammad Ali Road. I was born in the summer of 1965. My father came quickly to the United States as a PhD student at Rutgers University. And I lived with my Dadi and Dada and my mom in Hyderabad till I was 4 years old and went on a TWA jet for JFK Airport with only my brother beside me because my mother had gone ahead. Ours is a story of immigration and assimilation and empowerment. In that 1969, there was a new immigration wave in America, and that was our Indian community and also this community that was a part of my family's experience to the Muslim community. What had happened in those years before was that many students started arriving from Egypt, India, Pakistan, and they started creating organizations. And those are the organizations now, if you can believe it, 5 decades later, that have India, Hindus, the state of Israel, and Jews in their crosshairs. Like that has happened in my lifetime. What is that lifetime? I brought out my little Girl Scout cap. I bring this out because it was as a Girl Scout in New Jersey that I learned to speak my voice. I learned to overcome that cultural dynamic I had learned and inherited from the women in my family of being strong internally, but not necessarily out there in society. And that manifested in my life as a journalist. And what happened over these 50 years then is I've been able to study these organizations, and it became very personal after the 9/11 attacks. Because as a journalist, I went to Pakistan and I did reporting on these extremist groups that I had known about as a young Muslim growing up in America, but had never confronted. They are organizations that you all know very well. They are Al-Qaeda, they became Islamic State, but their political background was what you also know. Jamaat Islami, Tablighi Jamaat, these organizations that are in our birthland subcontinent. And so how had they manifested? They had manifested now into organizations that were also violent extremists. And that became very personal to me. I rented a home in Karachi. It was my first home on the subcontinent. And I was so proud of it. I was going to have my mom visit me and have our own suite, But then one day, a friend visited, and he was the journalist Daniel Pearl. Danny had come from Bombay, Mumbai now, to report. Danny went off for an interview, and as most of you know, he never came back. And that was my confrontation with the extremism that had taken root in my Muslim community, that so many of you already knew because of its incursion into India, into Kashmir, into displacing the Pandit families. You all have known this very deeply. It came home literally into my life on January 23rd, 2002. And so it was then that as a Muslim, as a woman, I found my voice. And I started to challenge Muslim extremism and started investigating these groups that had taken root when I was a little girl in New Jersey. And those groups are organizations that now express themselves with names like the Council on American Islamic Relations, Equality Labs, a name that you might know, and professors with beachheads at places like Rutgers University. And like I said, they not only have the West in their crosshairs, and the state of Israel and Jews, but then India and Hindus. And that is what you have seen manifest in the last decade, where you now have Hindus becoming Nazis, right? You have the state of India becoming a genocide state. These are all powerful, powerful words that have been hijacked by these organizations. And I am sitting here with you because we need counter organizations. You have to build the movement. We have to build these organizations. And I'm so glad that you all are doing it. You have to go walk the halls of Congress. I was so proud to be there at your Capitol Hill event just days ago, because I will tell you that these organizations are not only political organizations, but they are an army. In my writing, I call it the woke army. Islamist organizations working with leftist organizations to undermine our democracies, from India to America. And what is also in their crosshairs? Very fundamental values, like the American dream that allowed my family to take root in the United States. Merit education that decided that the merit test would be removed from the high school that my son attended here in Northern Virginia. That was once the #1 high school in America in math and science, but is now slowly going down the ranks because they don't want academic success. And what does that also mean for our community? It means things like the demonization of Hindus that dare to succeed in Silicon Valley, Hindus that dare to succeed in medicine, business, journalism, the media, because we are a threat. And I count myself among you because I dare also to challenge those extremists. And I will tell you that this came home again yesterday. I put on a hoodie that I bought in the West Bank with Israel Defense Forces across the front. I put on this newspaper print jacket that I have, and you will appreciate this. I put on my kajal because I inherited the superstition of my dadi that I didn't want anyone to give me the evil eye. I went to a protest that was anti-Israel and anti-Jew. There, I became pinned literally against the steel gate that is the partition on Pennsylvania Avenue between the road and the White House. And in front of me were the thousands of protesters screaming from the river to the sea. And why does this matter to all of you? I just want you to know, because among their signs was a sign that said, "From Kashmir to Palestine." These issues connect in their work. And so they must connect, just like you all are doing in your work. The future is ours to decide, you know? And the encouragement that I want to give you is this, is, you know this word in Urdu, niyat, intention. You build this organization with the niyat of goodness and humanity. That is the root of your teachings in Hinduism, and you will realize the positive policies, the important relationships, and the reality that you want to see in the world. Because I can assure you, it can happen. You can do it. You overcome any fears that you may have in your own life and in your own voice, and support the organization. Please donate to HinduACTion, because if you donate, then the courage becomes contagious and others donate, and the organization grows and builds and becomes an answer to that extremism that exists out in the world. And so I support all of you and will remain a friend to you as best as I can. So thank you so much for having me speak with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to you, Asra Nomani. Asra, and please, if everyone, I urge you all to go to Amazon and to purchase her book and to better educate yourselves. Woke Army, the Red Green Alliance that is destroying America's freedom. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
I would now like to, first of all, thank several people who have pledged to donate 10,000 from one person in Canada. There's another 500 from someone in the US, and many more people, donations that are rolling in. Grateful to everyone here. Please, if you haven't already done so, visit www.hindu-action.org/donate. And I would now like to turn your attention to Niraj Antani. He is the youngest Hindu American state senator in the United States, representing the 6th district in Ohio, the Ohio State Senate as a Republican. And I think we have Niraj with us on screen. I think he's here. Just want to make sure that we can get him on screen with me. Waiting, have a little bit of a technological thing on the back end. So Niraj Ji, are you here with us? Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so I think we're having a little bit of a technical issue. We're going to actually then we're going to actually turn our attention now to a video of Hindu Action's progress so far. Just a little short clip to display what Hindu Action has done so far in terms of accomplishments. It's only the beginning, of course, but just a little preview for everyone here. So if you wouldn't mind, Devji, please playing that video for the audience. That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
At a time when we face growing disinformation targeting the Hindu communities across America from the very same people who stifle voices of freedom and promote anti-Semitism, it is important to have a grassroots Hindu advocacy group that educates our members of Congress and our thought leaders. Hindu Action is nonpartisan and not related to any other organization based in or outside of the U.S. Our work is to engage American thought leadership, complement the efforts of several other Hindu organizations, as well as initiate grassroots actions for decisive outcomes. Our growing team consists of people who have been key drivers of a few major milestones in the Hindu identity space. Our effort is to transition from an immigrant identity space to a fully integrated American identity space, and is long overdue for American Hindus. Accelerating this transition is the most pressing challenge our community faces. A swift shift towards an American Hindu identity space ensures that future generations will engage more proudly in faith-based and community initiatives. In less than a year, Hindu Action has built a formidable track record in filling up the gaps in the Hindu advocacy space, both strategic and operational, in a manner that complements the efforts of other advocacy organizations, which have been already working in this space for many years. This was only made possible because of our team, which consists of dedicated thought leaders who have been engaged with the community at a grassroots level and other advocacy groups for decades. Our team initiated and drove the historic 1971 Genocide Recognition Project, which led to the introduction of the bipartisan House Resolution 1430 in October 2022. Our team worked with more than 30 national organizations to bring this first pro-Hindu resolution to Capitol Hill in 8 years. Due to the upcoming elections in Bangladesh, scheduled for January, we anticipate powerful opposition to the reintroduction of this resolution from lobbies linked to Jamaat-e-Islami, which was responsible for violent and deadly protests in Bangladesh on October 28th, the Muslim Brotherhood, and organizations fronting for them like CARE, ICNA, and ISNA. Our concerns were further confirmed when Congressman Rich McCormick, despite being pro-Hindu, refused to introduce the resolution in September, despite leading us on for 5 months. Our Lost Daughters of Sin team members have worked on creating awareness and actionable outcomes to highlight the plight of the brutalized religious minorities of Pakistan for over a decade. After campaigns by groups like ours, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak led the United Kingdom in sanctioning a seminary, the Barchundi Sharif, and its owner, Mian Mittu. Hopefully, our voices can one day ensure that every dollar of the billions that are given as aid to Pakistan is made conditional upon the safety of its religious minorities. Anjali Swami, our chapter lead in Arizona, spoke at the City Council in Tempe, and Renu Gupta spoke at the town of Westchester, Ohio, about minority women in Pakistan. My goal is to create grassroots awareness. The average American can become the voice of these girls, and that will have a much bigger impact, she explained. HinduACTion has a separate research department which seeks out evidence-based documentation of anti-Hindu hate that we share with lawmakers, policymakers, and law enforcement. We also share documentations with other advocacy groups. We are working to facilitate a nationwide campaign to create awareness and alliances against rising anti-Hindu bigotry and encourage the introduction of Hindu phobia resolutions. The resolutions would aim to cover campaigns like caste resolutions, Islamist and Khalistani hate cults, and targeted misinformation and disinformation against Hindus in any other form. In Ohio, we are working to promote Senate Bill SCR 06, which was introduced by State Senator Niraj Antani. Our teams are arranging city and county level readouts across the country to create a bottoms-up approach to this effort. Support us. The American Hindu community has the least per capita expenditure on advocacy when compared to Muslims, Jews, and Christians. The concept of Tyag and Sewa have served us well over the past 20 years, but will only take us so far in countering real and present threats to us and our children. Be part of the action. Support HinduACTion. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Before I introduce our next guest, just want to quickly turn your attention to our website again, www.hindu-action.org/donate. Thank you to everyone who's been so generous to help us continue with our mission at a grassroots advocacy level. With that said, I am now honored to introduce everyone to New York Assemblywoman Jennifer Rajkumar, a dedicated Democrat serving as a representative in the New York State Assembly for the 38th District. In fact, Assemblywoman Rajkumar made history when she became the first Indian American elected as a district leader of the 65th District of New York, the New York State Assembly, defeating a 28-year incumbent with over 70% of the vote. Her constituency includes the vibrant neighborhoods of Glendale, Ozone Park, Richmond Hill, Ridgewood, and Woodhaven in Queens. Assemblywoman Rajkumar is committed to working tirelessly for the betterment of her community and advocating for the needs and concerns of her constituents. That said, hi, it's great to see you again. I just wanted to ask you a few questions. We're so honored to have you with us here today. As the first Hindu elected to the New York State Assembly, you've achieved historic milestones, such as the recognition of Diwali as a national holiday in schools. And Diwali is among us, with us right now. We're a few days away. Could you please share the story behind these accomplishments with our audience?
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. Namaste to everybody and good afternoon, Hindu Action. Happy Diwali to all Hindus across the United States. I'm so excited to join you today for the Diwali online gala here at Hindu Action. I am State Assemblywoman Jennifer Rajkumar. I made history when I became the first Indian American woman ever elected to a New York State office. I am also the first Hindu ever elected to New York State office. And I am a proud Hindu. Most of all, I am a proud American. And nobody thought that I would be where I am today. Like so many of our families that are here at this online gala, my parents came to the United States with just $300 and a suitcase. And when I ran for this office, I ran against an incumbent, a man who had been in the position for 11 years. And people said to me, Rajkumari, you're a nice girl, but you have no shot. But we won. And we won by the largest margin of any challenger in the entire state. And all I have to say about that is that anything is possible on the greatest country on earth. And we didn't stop there. This year, against all odds, I did something that everyone said was impossible. I made Diwali a school holiday in New York City. For over 2 decades, the Indian American community fought for this moment. People said the day would never come when Diwali would be a school holiday in the city of New York. But this Diwali, we are victorious. Just like Ram returned to Ayodhya victorious, we return victorious with our Diwali victory. Our time has come and our community has arrived at the table of power. So today on this Diwali 2023, I am proud to say to the whole state, country, and world that from now on and forever, Diwali will be a school holiday in New York City, the largest school jurisdiction in our nation. And our government is now saying to over 600,000 Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, and Jain Americans across New York City, we see you and we recognize you. This tremendous victory is because of the South Asian American people of New York. I was their warrior, but I stood on their shoulders. People came to the state capitol this year, Hindu, Sikh, Jain, and Buddhist New Yorkers, and they chanted Diwali holiday, Diwali holiday. And that chant is now historic. It rang through the halls of the New York State Capitol. And that Diwali holiday chant is known to everyone in New York State government. When I was in the state capitol, my mom would actually call me every day. And in every phone call, the first thing my mom said, she would say, I have one question. Is Diwali going to be a school holiday this year? Are you going to pass your bill to make Diwali a school holiday? And she would tell me, make sure you get that bill passed. And I would say to my mom, I am working on it and I'm going to try. My mom's daily call to me was the call of our entire community. It was the same phone call that many of you on this Zoom made to me. It was the question that every South Asian family was asking and had been asking for over 2 decades. When will Diwali be a school holiday? When will we be heard and recognized and be a part of the gorgeous mosaic that is New York? I often think of the great Shirley Chisholm. She was the first Black woman to serve in the United States Congress and to run for president. She was also once a state assembly woman like myself. And she said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. So as the first elected of our community, as the first Hindu elected in New York, I packed up my folding chair and I went to Albany to make a place for us at the table of power and to fight for our community to be seen. So, as I said, on Diwali, Lord Ram and Sita returned victorious to Ayodhya. And this year we achieved our holiday and celebrate victory. So this is truly what victory feels like for the community. And I would like to say to everyone on this Zoom that our community has never been as powerful as it is now. We have arrived. I mean, even as I speak, 2 Indian Americans are running for president of the United States. Our time is here and our time is now. Also, as we see so much violence, hate, war, and destruction in the Middle East, and a rise in hate in the United States, I firmly believe that our community has a special role in bringing peace to the world. Ours is the culture that inspired Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King famously said that it was India's Gandhi that was the guiding light of his movement for nonviolent social change. Those were his exact words. So as Hindu Americans, we have a special place in American civil rights tradition. As Hindu Americans, we believe in mutual respect and love. I feel equally at home in a church, as a synagogue, as a mosque, as a mandir, because that's who we are. As Hindus, we don't just tolerate people that are different than us. We go one step further and actively love them. And it's time for us to shine our love and dharmic light across the New York State, the USA, the Middle East, and the whole world. We are needed right now. And since you asked me about what stories have led me here, it reminds me of what people often ask me, which is, how did you achieve these great feats for the community? And the answer is that I followed the teachings of our community. My dad would always tell me, if you want to succeed, you have to focus, like Arjuna in the Mahabharata. There were 5 Pandav brothers, and they were all asked to shoot a bird. But only Arjuna could shoot the bird. And when they asked Arjuna, how did you do it? He said, I saw only the eye of the bird. So it's because I focused on the eye that I was able to win my election and that I was able to make Diwali a school holiday. I just followed the teachings of our culture. And in an exciting development, I have now created the first ever 5-borough Diwali tour, where New York City Mayor Eric Adams and I are going to every borough of New York City celebrating Diwali. We had a big blowout Diwali in Times Square, the center of the world, as well as the mayor's house, Gracie Mansion. And yesterday we were in the Bronx. Next week on Diwali itself, I will be at the ISKCON Temple, the Hare Krishna Center in Brooklyn, New York. So we are spreading the light of Diwali across New York. Thank you for your question. Those are the stories that have brought me to this place.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much, Assemblywoman Rajkumar. I just wanted to also add, if I could, one more question for you before we go to our next guest. Just wanted to, drawing from your own experience and considering my Persian Iranian background, I recognize the importance and difficulties of mobilizing our communities to register and vote. Can you shed light on your efforts also to engage and encourage members of the Hindu and Indian community in New York to participate in the electoral process in order to bring about the changes that they desire?
Absolutely. I think that we need to make Hindu temples a center of organizing and a center of politics, just like Black churches are. You will notice that you see so many political candidates, presidents of the United States visit Black churches because they are a force. And what I have done is tried to make Hindu temples and Hindu centers organizing forces also. And we have been very successful in that endeavor. I think also just by being involved, by being a Hindu American that's in the room, that itself really inspires younger people in our community to get involved, and it inspires people of our community to vote. So altogether, I hope that we do increase our voting and our political participation, and I believe that we are on that path.
Thank you so much for being such a powerful voice and making history, of course. And we're so honored to have you with us today and looking forward to seeing you more often. And thank you.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.
So I just want to make a shout out to a few people who have been so generous, including Vijay Paloji, who donated $2,500. Thank you, Vijayji. Thank you to our speaker, Mr. Mohan Vanchuji, for generously pledging also $5,000. And we have so many more who are here with us today, who are also giving to this incredible grassroots cause. Of course, we are going to continue to work hard on behalf of the people and to work closely with our elected representatives who are looking to push for greater Hindu American representation. That said, I'm so pleased now to introduce you to Sir Niraj Antani, who is the youngest, also making history. We just saw Jennifer Rajkumar made history. Also, Niraj Antani made history as the youngest Hindu American state senator in the U.S., in the United States, representing the 6th district in the Ohio State Senate as a Republican. I'd like to get Niraj on screen as well. Great. Hi, good to see you again. So, Niraj, I just wanted to, if you could talk to the audience a little bit about, you've also worked very hard to introduce legislation in Ohio that, when it's passed, will formally condemn anti-Hindu bigotry and Hindu phobia. Can you tell us a bit more about this legislation and why you felt that it was necessary?
Sure. Well, thanks, and thanks for having me, and thank you to NJ and the leadership of HinduACTion for having me, and happy Diwali to everybody. Like you said, I'm very proud to be the first Indian and Hindu American state senator in Ohio history, and the youngest Hindu elected official in the history of the United States. And I think we see great work from Jennifer in New York, and I'm happy to be part of this movement and cause here in Ohio. And like you said, we introduced 2 bills. One bill to establish Hindu Heritage Month here in Ohio that a variety of other states have done, a few states have done. And then secondly, introduce a resolution to condemn Hindu phobia. We would be the 2nd state in the country to do this, past Georgia, if we pass this resolution. And look, I introduced this resolution at the request of HinduACTion. And so, that is why groups like HinduACTion is so important, that, and obviously I was happy to do it and, would have done it, but they brought this to my attention that this was happening in the state of Georgia, and that, we should do something similar here in Ohio. And look, we see, many speakers have spoke about, the tragedy that has gone on, in Israel and against Jewish people throughout the world following the tragedy in Israel. And we know that that can very easily become our community as well. We can become targeted by these radical Islamists just in the same as the Jewish community currently is under attack. And so, I think we have to stand up and stand strong for our community and against radical Islamic terror across the world. And so I was very, very happy to introduce the Hindu phobia resolution.
That's so wonderful. Thank you so much. I actually had one other question for you. I wanted to ask if, in light of the recent increase in Hindu phobia across the United States, have you encountered any specific challenges as a Hindu American, and how are you navigating them?
Well, listen, I mean, I've been under attack by, radical Islamists since the beginning of my career. If you go, there's a website, nirajantani.net, that a guy named Peter Friedrich has set up against me and against Raja Krishnamurthy and against Padma Kupa in Michigan. And so, I've been under attack from the very beginning, but I don't cower in fear from these radical Islamists. And so I think it's very important for our community to stand up and to stand strong, and which I will continue to do.
Thank you so, so much. We're looking forward to hopefully having your legislation, your two pieces of legislation passed as well. And thank you for being also an ally in this cause and for everything that you do. We look forward to seeing you soon. So I would like, thank you so much. I'd like to once again turn everyone's attention. I'm actually going to go ahead and make a little bit of an appeal now to everyone, kind of talking about it's a fundraising appeal. This is the Diwali fundraising gala. So I wanted to just point out some statistics here for everyone. Our Hindu advocacy organizations, Kona, Hindu America Foundation, HinduACTion, collectively, have raised around less than $3.5 million in total to annually. If we divide that among our 4 million members of the Hindu community, it's approximately 75 cents per person per year. Now, just to consider for perspective, the American Muslim community, with an equal number of members, has raised an impressive $11.7 million for advocacy, which comes out to about $3 per person. And to our Jewish American friends as well, numbering about 7.6 million, they have raised a staggering, just by comparison, $153 million for advocacy. That averages about $20 per person. So this disparity, of course, is a cause for concern. Jewish Americans spend 20 times more, and Muslim Americans spend nearly 3 times more on advocacy than Hindu Americans do. But there is good news here. And that's even that a small contribution from each of us here today can make a significant impact in increasing these numbers for the Hindu advocacy groups, such as ours, HinduACTion. Let's ensure that our community is represented and respected, of course. Your generosity here can make a meaningful difference, paving the way for a stronger and more inclusive America for all. One of the tenets of Hindu Dharma is the inclusivity for all, and it's a really beautiful thing. So, with that being said, I would like to turn our attention to our next speaker, Dr. Ain Imrani. And if we can, I'd just like to give you a little bit of background. Our next speaker is one of my favorite people, actually, Dr. Ain Imrani. Today, we will be discussing the topic of Hindus and Jews, shared histories and shared responsibilities. But first, I'd like to make a little bit of an introduction about who he is. He's a devoted Persian Jew driven by a profound love for both God and the healing journey. He's very spiritual to mysticism, and his passion for healing has inspired him to share his knowledge and experiences with others. Dr. Imrani practices internal medicine and cardiology in Tarzana, California, fulfilling a lifelong dream of caring for the sick, a dream he's had since he was a child. He sees his work as a privilege that transcends the boundaries between the physical, mental, and spiritual realms. Dr. Imrani is not only a dedicated Jew, but also a strong advocate for celebrating the diversity of people from all backgrounds and all faiths. For over 2 decades, he has been teaching medical students, nursing students, and physician assistants, PAs, students, receiving praise for his enthusiastic approach to imparting knowledge. At the UCLA School of Medicine, he serves as an assistant clinical professor. He's also, due to his dedication in his field, earned several prestigious awards, including the Castle Connolly Nationwide Top Doctors Award, which he's received every year since 2008, and Los Angeles Magazine's Super Doctor Award since 2010. He definitely is a super doctor also. He has also authored educational books for medical students and residents, and notably, he has written one of the earliest books on heart disease in women that was recognized by former First Lady Laura Bush. But beyond his medical career, Dr. Imrani's love for people and cultures has driven him to become an avid collector with a focus on Japanese Meiji-era earthenware. He shares his insights on various topics, including medicine, spirituality, on platforms like X and Instagram. You can follow him at Shri Iyer to gain valuable perspectives on these subjects. So, Afshin, Dr. Imrani, it has been my privilege to have known you and considered you and your family as friends for more than a decade. You stand as an accomplished professional in the field of medicine, widely respected and renowned for your expertise, attracting patients from all over the globe, which you speak about regularly through your various social media platforms. Your journey has been marked by experiences that have deepened your spirituality, which I believe is one of your favorite subjects, and your interactions with individuals from diverse religious and ethnic backgrounds have further enriched this connection to the spiritual realm. With that in mind, could you share with the audience some insights on the common values that bridge the Hindu and Jewish communities?
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity, Adele. Thank you for the opportunity, HinduACTion.org. Happy Diwali, everyone, and namaste. When I started my medical school journey, I was always interested very much in spirituality and the mystic traditions of different religions. And I always thought that even though religions had different ways of behavior or outward behavior, that perhaps the mystic part of the religion would connect. And I started looking at different mystic traditions, and one of the ones that really attracted me was the Hindu tradition. And I, as a mystic, the universe sort of brought me into having my first 2 years of medical school, living with a Hindu engineering student, and so we had a lot of time for discussion. And his mother was also very educational towards me, and I realized that we have so much in common, some things such as the idea of oneness, that everything is one, that that all spirits are one, that we are part of one truth. These are both of the mystic tradition of Judaism and the mystic traditions of Hinduism. Also, one of the things that we have in common is that we have been given a land that our spirituality and traditions are a part of. So, of course, in the Bible, God tells Abraham to go to a land that he promises, and and there's a similar tradition in Hinduism of the land being part of the tradition. And I think this is something unique that, for example, other religions or traditions don't have. So this is something that we share. And one of the problems that we're seeing in the world over Israel being such a tiny place and now being under attack for the idea of occupation, so on and so forth. Another tradition that we have in common of spirituality is that of family values, and that multiple roads lead to God. So we respect everybody's journey towards the truth and towards the light, and that we don't necessarily believe, for example, in Judaism, we say that everybody who's a decent person has a portion of heaven, whatever that idea is, reserved for them. Same with the Hindu tradition. We don't say that, for example, if you don't believe in X prophet, that you are going to die, or that your life will be valueless. In fact, quite the opposite. Everybody who is decent and everybody who is a seeker of spirituality and truth has a future in heaven. So I think that one of the things that we see is the difference between decency and indecency, and I think that's one of the things that we're seeing in in the Israeli terrorist action right now is that there is a force of light and darkness, and there is a force that's very dark that's trying to get rid of light. And I think these are values that we share in common.
Thank you so much. I was just actually going to ask you also, what are the shared threats and concerns of the Hindu and Jewish communities? And you partially answered that question. So I'm wondering, would you like to elaborate on that further, considering everything that's been happening over the past few years and the past few weeks?
Yes, first of all, I want to take a moment and seriously thank the Hindu community for standing with us. It truly means so much in a world where you go to a peace rally, or it was actually a peace party, and they come and they murder your children and they rape your women and they take people for hostage. And then you have these people on social media that come and stand not with the people who were raped or murdered, but they stand with the people who are actually the murderers and the rapists. It's just like almost the world has turned upside down. But to have people like you, the Hindu community that comes and stands with us, it's so heartwarming. And I want to say thank you to you, a deep thank you. I think that whenever you have traditions that are different than the larger society in which you live, people look at you as an outsider, and they look at you as perhaps a target. So Jews have a little scripture that we put at the door, sort of to protect our houses, and to also let the world know that we look at our little house differently than we do the rest of the world. We wear a little cloth on top of our heads, like a kippah, that reminds us that we are limited, that we're not infinite, that we are subservient to God. And so the Hindus also have traditions, and these traditions make us look different than others, and they make us as a target, as people who have practiced yoga or have practiced certain traditions that are common to Hindus, where they think of them as maybe shamans, or they think of them as maybe like the Jews, something that is going to be different. We celebrate these differences because these differences are what give our culture and our world tapestry and dimension. And we find that just as the story of the blind men that were feeling the elephant in order to find out what they were, and they were explaining them, so one would feel the tail and one would feel the ear, and they would describe the world differently. Then we all have different roles finding the truth and finding God, and we express God in different ways, but we are at the end one body and one spirit and one truth, all of us brothers and sisters together. And I think that what we need to do is to come together, the decent people, and to support each other and to encourage each other. And that's why a platform like this, like the HinduACTion.org, is so important, where we come together and we support each other, and we call out what's extremism, and the extremism is, Adele and I escaped an extremist ideology that took over our country, Iran, or Persia, that was there for 2,500 years. And Cyrus, the King Cyrus, brought Jews there, and King Cyrus wrote a declaration of equality between people and said that the Jews were equal to Muslims, were equal to Christians, were equal to whoever wanted to celebrate whatever they wanted to celebrate. And this is the Persia that we knew. And all of a sudden, this extremist ideology of extremist Islam, which are Islamists that we see now are trying to kill innocent Jews and come after innocent Hindus. These extremists took over the country that we love so much, Iran, and really hijacked that country. And we ran away from that, and now we're seeing almost in PTSD form these extremist forms popping up all over. For example, the streets of Paris and the streets of London. And we have to speak up against that. We have to express our background. We have to stand together with the people who are decent, and we have to stand against these forces that are not only indecent and dark, but who threaten democracy and all the ideology that are Western. One of the things that I should say as Hindus and Jews, that when we come to America, we celebrate the country. We celebrate the country that gave us a home, and we stand with the democracy and the light that this country has. We don't try to go against it, and we don't try to change it like these ideas that are extremists.
Thank you so much. And you know what you're saying, Dr. Imrani, is so important. How looking at history is such an important metric to examine what's occurred and what we can expect. And the only way to stop anything from repeating itself that's negative is to look back at history and to also look at the positives, like you said, the first ever human rights doctrine by King Cyrus the Great. Thank you so much for being with us here. It's such an honor and a privilege, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
Happy Diwali, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste. I want to say also, I just want to say Shubh Diwali as well to everyone here. And I now would love to turn everyone's attention once again to the website. First of all, amazing commentary by Dr. Shri Iyer, and we look forward to having him on again as well. And if everyone could just turn their attention to www.hindu-action.org/donate, that would be wonderful. If you haven't already done so, please support our grassroots advocacy, powerful work. Next, I would like to introduce to you another friend and ally in this collective fight for the people, and that is Seun Kim. He is a geopolitical analyst with years of experience in dealing with issues concerning China in the Indo-Pacific and in the Middle East. Seun Kim was instrumental in HinduACtion's joint declaration on anti-Semitism, which was released during our October 23rd congressional briefing. If anyone was there, they are part of history being made. The declaration was tweeted out by the Embassy of Israel in Washington, D.C., and anyone who was not able to see it, all the viewers can go to HinduACtion's YouTube channel to watch the full congressional briefing, as well as speeches and remarks from participants, which included several lawmakers as well. So, Seun, I'd like now to turn the floor to you to discuss the importance of interfaith dialogue and understanding in today's America. Great to see you again.
Well, firstly, thank you, and namaste, everybody, for just giving me this opportunity. And you know, it was an honor to hear from so many distinguished individuals that I had the privilege of working with in the last year or so. You know, I met Utsav last year at the International Religious Freedom Summit, where, you know, there were just so many different perspectives there, but also a lot of targeting of the two communities that we really hold dear. There was really no one to speak out for them. And I participated in a joint Muslim, Jewish, Christian panel last year regarding anti-Semitism and why all of us need to band together, especially to combat this evil that exists. But but as time progressed on, I must share that none of this can happen. None of this actual combating of anti-Semitism can happen without forming an alliance that is both realistic and sustainable. And what I mean by that is, this alliance of folks, I mean, essentially happens in a lot of communities, and I'd like to take a little bit to talk about that here today, especially in a Diwali season where we're all supposed to unite, not just as friends or colleagues, but really as a global family, right? So this alliance of folks, it needs to happen in several ways, and the fact that an organization like HinduACTion is leading such effort, I'm really honored to be part of it. So just touching upon the alliance itself, it was an honor to see that both communities, both in the Hindu and the Jewish community, were identifying the commonality of surviving challenges, not just in their homeland, but really in the diaspora as well, particularly here in the United States. Ever since October 7th, where so many innocent civilians have lost their lives since then, both on the Israeli and Palestinian side. The rise of anti-Semitism is staggering, but also at the same time, I'm also beginning to notice that there is a rise of anti-Hindu sentiments across the world. And I got this when I was in New York City, when Hamas actually declared the day of rage on a Friday, actually just before Shabbat, mind you, and they pretty much told everyone to go out and protest, and lo and behold, it seems like there were thousands of people there, and within the Palestinian side, you have a lot of folks just yelling out things like "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." And the usual slogans that everyone was hearing, and I'm really glad that we had a great speaker like Ms. Give us a great bit of context to that. The type of certain flags that were present there, and from what I can see, there were the flags that I saw were the flags of Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Taliban, and I also saw the flags of Pakistan and the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. And I think it was also mentioned before that by Ms. Asra Nomani that they would say something like, from Palestine to Kashmir, our struggle is the same. And what does that mean? On a far context, it sounds like a bunch of people just uniting together. But really, in realistically looking at it, what has that really produced over the years? It has produced the innocent people from Palestine, really all what they should do. Well, firstly, before you consider anything, I would just like to emphasize that understand what this message means. Understand what they're really trying to do here. I mean, the fact that there's the flag of the Taliban, Hamas, and Hezbollah, along with the flags of the Palestinian flag, it really tells you something, doesn't it? And so, we're seeing this alliance from their side, targeting the two groups that we hold dear together. And so just not to make it too long, but I would like to say that in times like this, it is more imperative that all of us need to unite together. And for an organization like HinduACTion to really step it up, as one of the only, if not the only organization in the United States to come out and say, look, we need to do something about this, and we're going to work with everyone. And to my knowledge, HinduACTion is one of the only Hindu organization that was able to pull in folks like myself, who's a Christian, a huge Jewish population, both Orthodox and Reformed, and also conservative as well. And we also pulled in members of the Muslim community who really have the full understanding of what it means to live under extremism. I was honored to organize with Utsav an event back in March where we united both the Shia Muslims and the Hindu community here, Shia Muslims particularly from the Hazara community, to unite together to really form an alliance that could result into a great example for others, right? And that's really what the spirit of the Hindu community has shown in here, is that at the end of the day, all we want is for all of us to unite as best as possible. And I think HinduACTion definitely has achieved that. Just on a last note, I'd like to also point out that without organizations like HinduACTion, all realistically, and might I even say, all we're going to see is a great group of community that is sort of drowning under apathy and just simple confusion as to and fear. It's not just, and at this point I say this because so many Jewish students, for example, on college campuses are afraid to come out of their dorms, right? Because of the fact that they might be targeted. The next might be the Hindu community. The next might be also the Muslim, the members of the moderate Muslim community who simply just want to, live their lives, but really can't because they're pressured into this. And so, please, before you donate, I would like to just emphasize that you're donating not just to an organization, but essentially to help all those people in the future and in the present who are potentially just living in an unspeakable fear that they might not have expressed at all. And so I'd like to thank HinduACTion for bringing all of us together. And in the spirit of Diwali, I'll say this: one other thing that HinduACTion was able to achieve is that they brought folks like myself, who was also hidden in the haze a little bit for many years.
Not anymore, though. Though. You're not hidden anymore.
Absolutely.
And Seun, I have to tell you, thank you so much. Thank you for this beautiful, as Renuji is saying, personal message. And you're right, apathy is the same as being complicit. And thank you for being such a voice and a leader, a young leader who has such a bright future ahead of him. And we're so honored and pleased and excited to be working with you. And thank you for continuing to be an inspiration for so many. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And nothing that's worth it is ever easy, right? Hard work. So thank you for joining us today. And we'll look forward to seeing you very, very soon again. Again, I know you've heard me say it a million times. I'm going to say it again. Please make sure you visit www.hindu-action.org/donate. And I'm now pleased to introduce the one and only, a true luminary, Mr. Shri Iyer. He is known by many of you as the editor at pgurus.com. And for those of you who don't know him, this is your lucky day today. You're getting to meet a true visionary. And I just want to say that, Shri's a very humble man. He's not just a Silicon Valley technologist with over 50 patents, but he's also a prolific author, innovative thinker, a relentless seeker of knowledge. I think that's the core of it, right? His book, Who Painted My Money White, has secured the coveted status of a #1 Amazon bestseller. What an amazing title, too. Shri is also the founder and editor at P Guru's YouTube channel, where he delves into a multitude of topics covering development, politics, business, books, art, culture from India, the USA, and the UK. I've been a guest on his show as well many times. This dedicated channel boasts a massive subscriber base of 400,000 and is making its waves worldwide, probably entering the millions pretty soon. Moreover, Shri's expertise and insights have made him a sought-after guest on prominent Indian shows across both mainstream media and popular YouTube channels. His influence, of course, extends across borders, bridging communities and speaking and having him spark very engaging conversations. Mr. Shri M. Iyer is a true visionary, blending technology, literature, and political discourse. A name to remember indeed. Today, Shri, thank you so much for being with us. I'd love to have you discuss the importance of organic media in shaping American Hindu discourse. This is something that you've had a lot of experience with, and if you could impart your knowledge with the audience today, we'd be very grateful.
Thank you so much for your kind words, and it's a pleasure and honor to be invited to this esteemed panel. HinduACTion has been doing some phenomenal work. I can't say enough good things about how Utsav has put together this group to make this happen. Because what happened is that the SB 403 was a bill that just suddenly caught all the Californians between the eyes. And before they could even, take a breath, there were so many things happening. This thing was moving at lightning speed. It was going through the Senate Judiciary Committee, and then the Senate voted near unanimously. And then people started waking up, said, wait a minute, this has got some, huge consequences for us. And that's when many, first generation Americans, Hindu Americans such as myself, we started jumping into the laws. What exactly is the legal procedure for people to, draft laws? And how is this that, we got blindsided like this? How come no one knew what was going on? So all this stuff suddenly came in a very high pressure, and many jumped in, they folded their sleeves and worked towards trying to make sure that the falsehoods that were being propagated were, brought to light. But it was like it failed by a whisker, I should say, because the governor, Gavin Newsom, refused to sign it. But I can assure you, folks, that they are going to try again, maybe not now, but when the next governor, comes into the Sacramento Capitol building, they are going to try it again. So what is it that is missing? What is missing is that most of us, Hindu Americans, all 4 million, maybe like at least 60 to 70%, we've all come here because we are very talented and we want to accomplish some things, life goals in our profession. And when we are, pursuing our, career objectives, we don't seem to have time for many of the other things. First of all, many don't even go to temples. Second, we don't have time to teach our children what exactly is the spirituality associated with Hinduism, what Sanatana Dharma is, what does it stand for. So sometimes in some schools, the children get, again, hit between the eyes. Oh my God, I don't know anything about my religion. My parents tell me to go and do namaskar here or pray, and I just stand there. So this kind of stuff needs to change. But for doing all these things, there needs to be a voice. And that's how P Guru started out. We said, okay, so there are so many things that are happening around the world. Who knows what is happening? And can someone connect the dots between what happened in one city and then where it is leading to? For example, this SB 403 didn't start there. It started in Seattle. But how many of us knew that from Seattle, it's going to spread like wildfire, not just in the United States, but also in Canada? So you see how people have lined up all their ducks, and then suddenly they blindside you. So all these things, someone had to do the, getting people around, getting them together, getting them to a platform to say, okay, listen, you watch this particular website and we bring you the most up-to-date information about topics that may be of interest to you. And that's how P Gurus has been, laser-like focus on some of these issues. For instance, on SB 403, we had the most comprehensive, up-to-date information regarding caste discrimination. Luckily, somebody else has taken up the baton and is running castefiles.org. So things like this are essential because you and I, the professional Hindu American, we don't have time to, lobby our congressmen, lobby our senators, any other people in power. We don't have the time because we are full-time, moms sometimes. We are also, pursuing our profession, but we need to know this because what is happening in Sacramento or in Washington, D.C. is going to affect our futures, our children, our grandchildren. And imagine if SB 403 had passed, what kind of an effect it would have had across the rest of the country. So in order to try and, at least educate the lawmakers, we need organizations like HinduACTion. And that's why I humbly request all of us, whoever is watching this video, to please donate to HinduACTion. They have done some groundbreaking work. In fact, they're the first ones to, I think, frame this Hindu genocide that took place in 1971 to draw the attention of what happened to Hindus in Bangladesh, in the liberation of Bangladesh from Pakistan. All these things requires a lot of work, patience, and most importantly, money. The reality is today, lawmakers won't even give you the time of the day unless you donate to their campaign. And the donation is not a trivial amount. It's $3,300. So, imagine if you want to talk to 10 lawmakers, that is $33,000. Well, HinduACTion would like all of us to pitch in. You make one trip to DC, I can guarantee you we'll be spending like $5,000. Why can't we spend like a tenth of that, $500? Donate to HinduACTion every year. And you can be sure that they are there for you, and it is the job of organizations such as P Gurus to make sure you understand the kind of great work that HinduACTion is doing. HinduACTion, Hindu American Foundation, COH, Kona, and many more are coming up now. We all have our works distributed. Each one is taking up something at a certain level, and HinduACTion is doing it with the lawmakers in Washington, D.C. This is the highest lawmaking body. Need I say more? Please donate to HinduACTion. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Sriji. Thank you so much. And I'm again, it's so wonderful to have you with us and part of this. Thank you. I want to make another fundraising appeal for anyone who hasn't yet donated. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to everyone who has been so generous in giving donations this evening, this afternoon, depending on where you are, and for your continued support. This is such a critically important part of our work. Of course, we can't do it. It's impossible to accomplish any of this. HinduACTion can't accomplish any of this without you. So thank you. Even if you can go to www.hindu-action.org/donate and give a monthly donation, $20 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever it is that you wish to do, it's going to make a tremendous difference. Recurring donations are one of the keys to this organization's longevity and success. So please make your way over there. And now I have to say I'm so pleased to introduce Divia Jane, who is co-hosting our gala. Divia Jane resides in Michigan and is a committee member of HinduACTion's executive board. Divya Ji has worked in Hindu advocacy for the last 3 years and has lectured over 100 interfaith talks and about 30 presentations on Hinduism in schools, colleges, and universities. In her full-time capacity, if that wasn't enough, she is a wife and a mother of 2 daughters. She is also a quality manager in a biotech company, and she enjoys performing classical Indian dance, which I look forward to seeing, writing, and public speaking in her spare time. So I just want to say hi, Divya Ji. Can you tell us? Namaste. Can you tell us a little about your journey to where you are today? You have such a fascinating story, a very personal story, and I believe that our audience would love to know more about you and how you came into who you are and really what drives you to do what you do.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me as a co-host in this gala. I thank everyone who's donating and who's pledging to donate in the future. That's a wonderful contribution towards Dharma. A little bit about myself. So my conversion to Christianity, which took about 2 years of persistent coercion. I was a practicing Christian when I converted in 2014 for about 2 years, where I stopped my inquisition about the truth of our existence and the goal of this life. I vehemently accepted Jesus as my only savior and was pushing my family to do the same. My inquisition cycle restarted in 2016 around my wedding. And after my firstborn, it became more intense. The seizing moment for being a Christian was an incident that took place, was a brutal mob lynching of 2 saffron-clad monks in Palghar, Maharashtra in India, where 2 Juna Akhara sadhus, Chikne Maharaj and Kalpavriksha Giri Maharaj, Sushil Giri Maharaj, were beaten to death on April 16, 2020. The various sources indicated that it's a massive coercive Christian conversion is going on in the Palghar district of Maharashtra. The incident supposedly took place as both the monks were trying to stall the conversion process and were working towards the very plural spreading of Sanatan Dharma in that district. The two haven't gotten the justice yet, but I think it was an awakening call for me. I called off that journey of Christianity and came back to Hinduism. The incident brought me back to Sanatan Dharma, and my beautiful journey into spirituality and Hindu advocacy started since then. Now I am a Hindu speaker, interfaith representative, a vocal activist, and a ground volunteer, where I volunteer for multiple events related to Dharma and Hindu society and culture. So I want to say that if you are in the United States and you can afford a $6 coffee at Starbucks each week, so why not contribute a $6 every week to preserve and prevail Hindu Dharma that offers the beautiful, powerful, and significant spiritual experience? So go to our website and make a pledge. Donations can be made online on HinduACtion.org/donate. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Anjali Swami. Anjali ji is a resident of Arizona, an active HinduACtion board member, technical product manager working for the state of Arizona, and a professional singer with a beautiful voice. I personally love her voice. We will now turn to a lovely presentation by Anjali Swamiji.
Thank you so much. Namaste, and a very warm welcome to all the viewers in HinduACtion. Just give me a second. So HinduACtion started making tremendous inroads in their individual chapters in the different states in less than a year. And I'm very proud to go over the highlights of the different activities and the developments that has happened in each of the different chapters. So here you will see that actually talking about some of the actions and achievements, that there's a lot of groundwork that has been done in various states, including speeches at the local city council, STEM projects, Hindu Heritage Month proclamations, advocacy with the multi-faith and other pro-Hindu communities. So though we are less than a year old, yet we have active advocacy and presence in various states. So there is this list of states that you can see from California, Arizona, Texas, Indiana, Florida. And here is a listing of the chapters that are leading in advocacy, and Arizona, Texas, Michigan, Maryland, Virginia, Ohio, and Florida. So we plan to intensify our activities in the individual chapters. So if you're interested, please provide your name and number in the chat. Talking a little bit about the chapters, the Arizona chapter has engaged in the following activities in Arizona. There were speeches given by me in the city councils for Lost Daughters of Sin, Hinduphobia. We also got the Hindu Heritage Month proclamation. We did the World Bindi celebrations with other communities. We have done community outreach to Hindus, of course, but also to Jewish and to Christian community. And there was also a presentation done on the divine feminine and women empowerment in Hinduism by me. These are some of the pictures that you can see of the engagement and the activities of our community that we have done as a HinduACTion Arizona chapter. The Michigan chapter has also done community outreach by contributing to Auburn Hill City Diwali as a volunteer. And also they have presented HinduACTion at Mixed Unity Convention, which is the Michigan Indian American Community Services, where 36 Indo-American organizations that are active in the Michigan state, they came on a single platform to discuss the developments, the future developments of the community. And here are some of the pictures from the Mixed Community Convention. The Ohio chapter has also been very actively engaged in Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. So the Ohio Hindu Phobia Resolution has been initiated as CR06. There were also readouts done for the Lost Daughters of Sin and Hinduphobia. There was a core team members meeting in August, and there is going to be engagement with the officials during Diwali using the Diwali postcards. So once again, I would like to reiterate that we plan to intensify our activities to individual chapters. So if interested, please provide your name and number in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anjali ji. Thank you for that wonderful presentation and a lot of information about how the chapters are going on. I ask that Arthamulam Karyam, money is the root of all works. If we all want dharma, the righteous order, which assures that your future generation lives in a balanced world of mind, body, and soul. We want the dharma to survive and prevail. Please donate. Every dollar matters. Donations can be made online at hindu-action.org/donate. Next on the list is Mr. Sajin Agrawal. Shri Sajin Agrawal ji is a leading business entrepreneur in the USA. Sajjan ji is involved in several charity organizations. He is a great philanthropist, supporting a lot of Hindu causes and initiatives. The Agrawal family has been involved in many healthcare projects, philanthropic causes, promoting education and improving healthcare for underprivileged children in both India and the United States. The family is active on several boards, including Duke Hospital in Raleigh, ACL USA, YMCA, Hindu Society of North Carolina, and many others. Sajjanji has been a great supporter of HinduACTion and an inspiration to all of us. So thank you, Sajjanji, for your generous contribution to HinduACTion. Without your support, this important and historic work would not have been possible. So here is Sajjanji's message for all of us.
Namaste. My name is Sajin Agrawal, and I'm sorry I cannot join this wonderful virtual HinduACTion Diwali Gala today, but I'm sending my Diwali greetings to all of you and encourage you to support HinduACTion generously. I'm glad to support HinduACTion as they've been diligently working to educate state and federal lawmakers about Sanatana Dharma, our cherished Hindu values and traditions, and also in combating the rising Hindu phobia by working with state lawmakers and other Hindu and non-Hindu organizations. We are the children and custodians of Sanatana Dharma, which teaches how humans can live in happiness, prosperity, health, and harmony with all creatures. As American Hindus, it is our responsibility to ensure our fellow Americans have the opportunity to understand, appreciate this essence of Hinduism. The HinduACTion, by fostering relationship with policymakers, it paves way for policies that respects and acknowledge our Hindu values and our interest. Together, we can help in the Hindu Renaissance and leave a better, inclusive society for our children who can be proud to be Hindus. I invite you to support these courageous Hindu leaders at HinduACTion as they learn and grow in ability and impact. It is a need of the hour. Dhanyavad. Namaste.
Thank you, Sajjanji, for this wonderful message. Now I hand over to Adele again, and she can take it over from here. Thank you for having me over. Dhanyavad.
Thank you so, so much, Divya Ji. That was beautiful and such a calming voice and presence. So thank you for sharing your personal journey. What a beautiful, beautiful story and inspiring to so many people. Thank you for everything you do. And I want to just take a moment also to express deep gratitude to the Junjunwala family that has pledged $5,000 to HinduACTion. We're seeing a lot of support here this evening. We've had so many wonderful speakers, so many amazing, amazing guests, and people who are all committed to the same cause of promoting Dharma, promoting goodness, which is such a universal concept. And that is the beauty of what's at play here, is that it's so welcoming and all-encompassing for one and all. And I'd like to, again, as has been asked several times during this evening's Diwali Gala, to please turn your attention to www.hindu-action.org/donate. Whatever you can do, whether it's $5 a month, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, monthly donations, small monthly donations, $20, even $10 are going to be so critically important to helping us advance our grassroots efforts. And with that said, we're not coincidentally now going to be introducing a prominent investment banker. The importance of money, of course, in everything we do. With that said, I'd like to introduce Vibhuti Jha. Vibhuti Jha Ji is an outspoken thinker, a prominent investment banker, and the founder and host of the Jaipur Dialogues here in the US, which many of you know of and follow. Vibhuti Jha Ji has been an articulate voice for the community in the media space for nearly a decade. He has prepared for us a message from India, and we are going to hear that in a moment, I believe. Thank you.
Namaste, viewers. It is a great honor and privilege to talk to you today on the platform of HinduACTion. I love the word action because everything depends on action. You know, Swami Vivekananda ji had given a call to all Hindus several years ago. Arise, awaken, and assert. To which I added, most humbly, Vibhuti Jha's fourth A, and that is called ACT. So I always urge Hindus to arise, awaken, assert, and act. To that end, I'm extremely delighted that my friend Utsav Chakravarti and the committed band of people have started HinduACtion. This is the much needed moment in our life in America and everywhere in the world. Because what is important is not knowing everything. What is important is knowing what we know, what are we going to do about it? That's the important key element, a siksha, a education that we have received in Bhagavad Gita as well. It's always the action, karma is very critical. So Hindus right now, all over America, are under an attack, cooked up, manufactured, and bogus. Knowing what we know now, what is going on, if we don't arise and act, then we are indulging in a self-defeating exercise. Merely hoping for things to happen doesn't happen. What one has to do is to prepare yourself to act. Remember one thing, it's very, very critical. I've been living away from home for many, many years. I know one thing for sure. Our identity, your identity, our identity is key. I am Vibhuti, I am not Vibhutai. That's the important part. I have corrected American friends of mine and companies that I have worked with, is to teach them how to pronounce the. Unless and until we tell them about ourselves, why would they know about it? This is a vital education I received from my American boss in American Express in India, who told me, it doesn't matter what you do. If I don't know it, it doesn't matter. Think about it. It's very important. If we are not able to carry our narrative forward, it doesn't matter. Nobody has time to get to know you. It's for us. It's not about beating the drum or blowing your trumpet. It's about asserting and letting people know who I am. This is who I am. Today, in this century, in this particular century, we must bear one thing in mind. Science and technology is supporting us because our faith, our belief is absolutely universal in nature. It is absolutely universal in nature. It's not based on fear and ignorance. It's based on knowledge and knowing, seeking to know. But if we do not reach out that message to others, they will never know us. So I applaud HinduACtion to have taken this bold step to become an action-oriented enterprise. And to that end, this is something which is, I'm very peeved with that. When I find that many other organizations are able to raise money, somewhere along the line, we Hindus are always hesitant in writing a check. There are many millionaires who write $1 million checks for endowments to universities and colleges. But you tell them to donate something for the Hindu cause, and they fight shy, as if it is a badge of dishonor to commit some funds, because money makes the world go round, and money is required for everything that happens. So I congratulate Utsav, I congratulate HinduACtion and the entire team for taking this initiative. My humble request to everybody is, let's support the cause. Whether it's $1 or $1 million, doesn't matter. Every penny counts. I want to thank you for inviting me, Utsavji, to share my thoughts. And I want to thank all of you for all being part of this. And I'm delighted to be part of this initiative. Thank you very much. Let's go win. Thank you.
Beautiful and powerful. Thank you so much, to Vibhuti Jaji, for that wonderful message. And he's right, money talks. So I want to, speaking of which, make a very, very special thank you to Arun Gupta ji for making a generous pledge of $10,000 to HinduACtion. And with that, again, if anyone hasn't done so already, please do make sure that you make a donation online. We can't do any of this without you. The organization is definitely reliant on generosity of the public, people who are supporters, to continue to thrive and to have the amazing leadership that we're seeing here in Congress, Senate, the state level, the federal level, and of course at the grassroots level. All politics is local. And with that, I would like to now turn your attention to another wonderful song, O Sajna, by our very, very own amazingly talented Anjali Swamiji.
O Sajna प्यासे प्यासे मेरे नयन तेरे ख्वाब में खो गए कैसे रिमझिम ओ सजन प्यासे प्यासे मेरे नयन तेरे ख्वाब में खो गए सावली सलोनी खता जब जब छाई सावली सलोनी खता जब जब छाई अखियों में रहना गई नींदिया ना आई ओ सजना बरखा बहार आई रस के फुहार लाई अखियों में प्यार लाई ओ सजना बरखा बहार आई रस के फुहार लाई अखियों में प्यार लाई ओ सजना
There I am. That was so beautiful. Thank you so, so much, Anjali ji, for your beautiful angelic voice. Truly, your name suits you. I want to say, we're closing off such another successful gala fundraiser. And I just want to take a moment to also thank a few more people. I want to thank Piyush Unial for the generous $508 donation online. I also want to read a few other names people who have generously donated. Shiva Chokalingam, Subramanya Handi, Seema Gupta, Maya Yadav, Shanti Ambalavanan, Ashish Agrawal, Sankalp Kota, and Rajendra Singh. Thank you, and I hope I didn't butcher anyone's name. So that said, I want to also point out that anyone can also make a donation through Fidelity Giving Fund. And I believe there is also a program that we have in place to match donations that are given. So I think Fidelity does actually, in fact, match donations. And this is thanks to Vijay Reddy for making this possible. So once again, you can also donate through Fidelity Giving Fund. And this will, thanks to Vijay Reddy, allow us to have any donation that is given matched. We are entering the final few minutes of our program. I just again want to thank everyone. What an incredible evening. I really want to also give a very, very special and huge thanks to Renu Gupta and Utsav Chakravarti, in addition to our whole team. Honestly, such humble, amazing, amazing human beings. And again, who are leading this effort so gracefully and with strength. And thank you again to everyone who has been here tonight. I think that we've done a pretty excellent job. Utsavji has done a pretty incredible job of answering some questions. And I think we've answered most of them, honestly. So hopefully I didn't miss anyone. Thank you also to Deb Roy. There are so many names of people who are just such an integral part of this organization's success. And I am certain that we're going to have another very successful event, thanks to all of you, very, very soon. Again, any feedback, any questions, if you want to get involved, if you want to donate, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. www.HinduACT.org. And with that, I have to say, I bid you all a wonderful evening, a good night. Happy Shubha Diwali to everyone. We have an amazing celebration amongst coming up in a few days. So God bless all of you, and we will see you soon. Namaste.